Come, sit, have a brew. Tonight, we speak of a knife with no handle, a whisper with no loyalty, a shadow that has smiled at kings, queens, priests, dragons, monsters, and gods, and left each of them poorer for having trusted her. Tonight, my friends, we speak of Xal'atath, the Harbinger, the whisper in the dark, the shadow that watched the old gods fall and did not weep. She has moved from hand to hand, master to master, covenant to covenant, and every time someone believed they could use her, she used them first. So tonight, we ask a dangerous question. If Xal'atath has betrayed everyone she has ever partnered with, why should the void be any different?
Loyalty is such a mortal word.
Ah, there it is. That little chill at the back of the neck. Because perhaps we have been asking the wrong question. Perhaps Xal'atath does not serve the void. Perhaps she never served the old gods. Perhaps she never intended to be the prophet of Dimensius or the champion of the all-consuming dark. Perhaps Xal'atath has spent all this time doing what she does best, using everyone. The mortals, the old gods, the titans, the light, the void. And yes, perhaps even Azeroth herself. Let us be clear. This is just one possible future, one seen only in the mind's eye, and many brews later. World of Warcraft, Azeroth, Xal'atath, the Titans, the Void, the Light, and all related names and properties belong to Blizzard Entertainment and their respective rights holders. This story is a fun, speculative lore theory for entertainment only. The true canon is whatever Blizzard creates and releases. We are simply wandering the mists between what is known and what may yet be. Now then, let us pour the tea, or something stronger, because this theory begins with betrayal. Xal'atath is not a servant. That is the first truth we must place on the table. Not a servant of mortals, not a servant of the old gods, not a servant of the void lords, and perhaps not even a servant of shadow itself. She is patient, she is charming, she offers gifts, she offers knowledge, she offers power wrapped in silk and smoke. But gifts from Xal'atath always come with hooks. She was carried as a weapon, yet weapons are meant to be used, and somehow she was the one using others. Priests held the blade, but the blade whispered. Power was taken from her, yet she endured. The Black Empire fell, yet she remained. The old gods died, yet she watched. Kings rose, empires burned, heroes triumphed, villains screamed their last. And Xal'atath? Xal'atath smiled, because she was never married to one empire, never chained to one prophecy, never loyal to one master. She survived because she betrayed the very idea of loyalty.
They all believed they were holding the blade. How precious.
And that, my friends, is what makes her so dangerous. A warrior can be defeated. A tyrant can be overthrown. A god can be slain, if enough foolish heroes stand in enough glowing circles. But a betrayer, a true betrayer? She does not need to win every battle. She only needs to be standing when everyone else has exhausted themselves. So when the void calls her Harbinger, perhaps we should not hear that word as a title of service. perhaps we should hear it as a warning. A harbinger does not always serve the thing that follows. Sometimes a harbinger arrives to announce the storm, and sometimes she arrives to steal the storm for herself. The void consumes. That is its nature. It hungers. It whispers. It turns certainty into madness, hope into paranoia, love into obsession, and power into addiction. The void does not simply want to rule worlds. It wants to devour possibility itself. Every future, every path, every dream, every fear. All of it pulled into endless shadow until nothing remains but hunger.
All things return to hunger.
So let us ask a simple question. Why would Xal'atath, a being who has survived by never allowing herself to be owned, willingly serve something that seeks to consume everything? Why would the betrayer kneel to the all-devouring? Why would the whisper become obedient to the mouth? No, that does not taste right. Xal'atath is too clever for that. If she aids the void, it is because the void has something she wants. If she opens the way for shadow, it is because shadow is a tool. If she claims power from Dimensius, then perhaps it is not devotion. Perhaps it is theft. And if she turns the sky black over Azeroth, perhaps the darkness is not the end of the ritual. Perhaps it is the beginning. What if Xal'atath's true goal is not to let the void consume Azeroth? What if her goal is to force Azeroth to awaken before the void can consume her? Now the brew grows bitter. Think on Azeroth for a moment, not as a map. Think of Azeroth as a being, a sleeping world soul, a cosmic child beneath our feet. What is Azeroth? Is she Titan? The Titans would like us to think so. They found world souls, they ordered them, they shaped them. They built machines, vaults, watches, facilities, and prisons. They reached into worlds and said,
"This is what you are meant to become."
But Azeroth is not like the others. Azeroth is not clean. Azeroth is not untouched. Azeroth is not one note in the cosmic song. She is every instrument playing at once. She has known arcane order through the Titans. She has known shadow through the old gods. She has known life through the wild gods, the world trees, the emerald dream, and the deep roots of creation. She has known death through the scourge, the shadowlands, and the countless souls that have bled into her soil. She has known fel through invasions, portals, demons, and burning scars. She has known light through paladins, Naru, the Sunwell, and the faith of entire civilizations. She has known frost in Northrend, fire in the elemental lords, earth in the deep places, air in the raging skies, and water in the ancient tides. Elemental lords rage within her history, lower walk her jungles, wild gods dream in her forests, old gods buried their corruption into her flesh. Titan machines regulate her bones, mortals bleed, pray, kill, build, destroy, and hope upon her surface. Azeroth is not pure. Azeroth is not simple. Azeroth is not merely a Titan waiting to hatch. She is the great contradiction, the wound that lived, the prison that sang, the battlefield that became a cradle. And perhaps that is why every cosmic force wants her, not because she is one of them, but because she could become greater than all of them. The Titans call her important. The Void wants her. The Light fears losing her. Life protects her. Death has touched her. Fel has scarred her. The elements were born into her violence. And still, Azeroth sleeps. So perhaps the title, The Last Titan, is not a promise. Perhaps it is a fear. Perhaps the Titans have searched the great dark beyond and found no more world souls left to order. No more sleeping gods to shape. No more cosmic children to teach obedience. Only Azeroth remains. The last one. The last chance. The last Titan. But what if that title is a lie placed upon her? What if she is not the last Titan because she is destined to become one? What if she is the last Titan because the Titans have no other choice but to claim her as one? Ah, there is the difference. To be born a thing is one matter. To be named a thing by those who want to own you, that is something else entirely.
Azeroth must awaken according to design. Deviation is unacceptable.
What if Azeroth is the only world soul capable of doing what no cosmic force can do alone? Not destroy the void, not worship the light, not serve death, not submit to order, not drown in life, not burn in Fel, but contain them, balance them, command them. Azeroth may be the only being in existence vast enough, scarred enough, and touched by enough cosmic powers to stand at the center of creation and say,
No more.
No more eternal war. No more cosmic empires. No more gods using worlds as game pieces. No more light without shadow. No more void without form. No more order without freedom. No more life without endings. No more death without renewal. No more Fel without consequence. And if Xal'atath knows this, then perhaps her plan is not to destroy Azeroth. Perhaps her plan is to awaken the only being capable of betraying the entire cosmic war. Now we come to the heart of the brew. Xal'atath the betrayer. She betrayed those who held her. She betrayed those who trusted her. She betrayed the dead empires that thought she was their remnant. She betrayed allies when they became inconvenient. So why would her greatest betrayal be smaller than all the others? Why betray a queen when you could betray a god? Why betray a city when you could betray the void? Imagine this. The void believes Xal'atath is preparing Azeroth for consumption. It believes the Harbinger is weakening the world, cracking the light, spreading terror, and making way for the all-consuming dark. The Titans believe Xal'atath is trying to corrupt their prize. The light believes Xal'atath is trying to extinguish hope. Mortals believe Xal'atath is trying to kill everyone because, well, she does keep doing many things that look very much like trying to kill everyone. But what if all of them are wrong? What if Xal'atath is creating pressure, not conquest? pressure. A world soul does not awaken because someone politely knocks on the crust. A sleeping goddess does not rise because heroes ask nicely. No, she wakes when the dream becomes unbearable, when light burns too bright, when void presses too close, when titan machines strain, when old blood stirs, when mortals scream, when the entire world reaches that terrible moment between death and transformation. That is when Azeroth wakes, and Xal'atath may be the only one cruel enough to force it.
Wake up, little world. They have named you long enough.
Let us look to quel'thalas. Let us look to the Sunwell, a fountain of power, arcane in origin, light infused in rebirth, a sacred heart to the blood elves, a wound healed into a beacon, and now, once again, a target. But perhaps the Sunwell is not only a source of power. Perhaps it is a lock, a stabilizer, a shining seal placed upon the world's spiritual pressure. The Sunwell has always been more than a battery. It is identity. It is addiction. It is rebirth. It is faith. It is magic. It is light. It is memory. And if Xal'atath seeks to claim it, perhaps she does not simply want to drink from it. Perhaps she wants to break what it represents. Because the Sunwell is not just light. It is controlled light, civilized light, ordered light. Light bound into a font, defended by armies, worshipped by a people, and positioned as one of the great anchors against the void. To the light, the Sunwell is defense. To the void, it is a prize. To Xal'atath, perhaps it is a door that must be opened or shattered. Imagine the Sunwell dimming, not destroyed, dimmed, its golden glow fading into violet, its surface becoming still as black glass. The defenders cry out in horror. The army of the light raises weapons. The void elves hear whispers turn into screams. Illyria feels the pull. Turalyon feels the loss. And far beneath them, Azeroth stirs. Not because she is dying, because one of the locks has been removed. And Xal'atath smiles, not like a conqueror, like a midwife. Now we must speak of Dimensius, the all-devouring. The name itself is a warning. Not ruler, not king, not creator. Devourer. This is not balance. This is not freedom. This is appetite without end. If Dimensius consumes everything, there is no empire for Xal'atath to rule, no secrets to collect, no future to manipulate, no Azeroth to awaken, no betrayal left to perform, only hunger. And what is the one thing a betrayer cannot tolerate? An ending she does not control.
All shall be one. All shall be silence.
No, not yet.
So, if Xal'atath turns against Dimensius, it may not be because she has suddenly discovered kindness in her shadowy little heart. No, no. It may be because Dimensius is not useful. The all-devouring is not a partner. It is a final mouth. And Xal'atath has no intention of being swallowed by anyone. So she takes his power. She uses the void against the void. She becomes more than a herald, more than a servant, more than a knife. She becomes a thief, standing in the house of gods, pockets full of stolen stars. And then she turns toward Azeroth, not to feed her to the void, but to force the world soul to become what even the void cannot consume. Now here is where the theory grows dangerous. What if Azeroth is not powerful because she is pure? What if Azeroth is powerful because she is impure? Because every cosmic force has touched her and failed to own her. Fel came. It burned, but it did not claim her. Death came. It harvested, but it did not silence her. The void came. It burrowed deep, but it did not fully corrupt her. The Titans came. They ordered, shaped, and built, but even they could not completely define her. The light came. It blessed, healed, and inspired, but it did not erase the shadows. Life came. It grew across her, rooted in her, dreamed through her, but it did not stop death. The elements raged. Fire, frost, storm, stone, tide, all fought for dominance. Still, Azeroth endured. She did not become one force. She became the meeting place of all forces. Like a good brew, yes? Too much bitterness and the cup is ruined. Too much sweetness and the tongue grows tired. Too much fire and no one gets home safely. But balance. Balance is not the absence of conflict. Balance is the mastery of it. Perhaps Azeroth is not meant to be ordered into a titan. Perhaps she is meant to become the first true cosmic balance. A world soul who can look into the void and not be consumed. A world soul who can stand before the light and not be blinded. A world soul who can command Arcane without becoming a machine. Touch Fel without becoming chaos. Understand death without ending life. Hold life without denying death. House the elements without being torn apart. And this, my friends, may be why the Titans fear her awakening. Not because she will be weak, because she will be free. Xal'atath may be powerful, but she is not enough, not alone. She can scheme, she can steal, she can whisper. She can empower armies, manipulate kings, and make gods nervous. But to challenge the cosmic order itself, to dim eternal light and control all-consuming void, that requires more than cunning. That requires a being born from the battlefield of creation. That requires Azeroth. So perhaps Xal'atath's plan has never been to become the final god. Perhaps her plan is to create one. Not a titan, not a void lord, not a Naru, not a demon, not a death god. Something new, something impossible. Azeroth awakened. Azeroth unchained. Azeroth no longer the prize of the cosmic war, but its judge.
Rise, little world. Show them what they failed to make.
And here is the darkest part. Xal'atath may believe she is the only one brave enough to do what must be done. The heroes will never awaken Azeroth by force. The Titans will only guide her toward order. The light will only defend what it can bless. The void will only consume what it can reach. Life will protect the dream. Death will wait for the ending. But Xal'atath? Xal'atath will break the locks, poison the cup, burn the bridge, release the prisoner, and whisper,
Wake up.
Now let us be careful. This theory does not make Xal'atath good. No, no. Do not invite her to dinner. Do not lend her money. Do not let her watch your children, your artifacts, your queen, your Titan facility, or your suspiciously powerful dagger. She is still cruel, still manipulative, still dangerous beyond measure. She may slaughter thousands to awaken one being. She may burn kingdoms to break one chain. She may drown the Sunwell in shadow because she believes the result is worth the screams. That is not heroism. That is not balance. That is the arrogance of a creature who believes she alone sees the board clearly. But the story has always loved this kind of monster. The villain who tells part of the truth. The monster who is wrong in method, but not entirely wrong in warning. Because perhaps Xal'atath is right about one thing. Perhaps the cosmic forces have lied. Perhaps the Titans do not simply protect. Perhaps the light does not simply save. Perhaps the void does not simply reveal. Perhaps every force, when left unchecked, becomes tyranny. Order becomes control. Light becomes obedience. Void becomes madness. Life becomes overgrowth. Death becomes silence. Fell becomes ruin. And perhaps Azeroth is the one being who could stop the wheel from turning forever, if she survives the awakening. So picture the final moment. The armies gather. The light stands in blazing ranks. The void pours across the sky. Titan machines awaken beneath the crust. Ancient watchers send warnings. The elements scream. Lower flee into old temples. Wild gods lower their heads. Heroes raise weapons. And Xal'atath stands at the center of it all. Everyone expects her to open the way for the void. Everyone expects her to kneel to the darkness she has served. Dimensius' hunger echoes through reality. The light burns brighter in defiance. The Titans prepare to reclaim their final world soul. And then Xal'atath betrays them all. She turns the stolen power of the void not against Azeroth, but into her. Not as corruption, as ignition. Not as poison, as pressure. Not to consume, to awaken.
World soul deviation detected. Containment failure.
The void screams because it realizes too late it has been used. The light falters because its enemy has not chosen darkness. The Titans panic because the world soul is awakening outside their design. And Azeroth opens her eyes.
I am awake.
Not as a Titan, not as a Void Lord, not as light, not as death, not as life, not as fell, not as Arcane, as Azeroth, the first of herself, the last of what they tried to make her, and the beginning of what none of them can control. Then Xal'atath bows, not in worship, not in defeat, but in satisfaction, because the greatest betrayal in the history of the cosmos was never betraying a priest, a queen, an empire, or a god. It was convincing the void that she belonged to it.
I never belonged to anyone.
So perhaps Xal'atath the betrayer is not trying to end Azeroth. Perhaps she is trying to end the game being played over Azeroth. Perhaps every whisper, every alliance, every betrayal, every stolen power, every broken kingdom, and every shadow cast over the Sunwell is part of one terrible question. What happens when the world finally wakes? And if Azeroth awakens as something greater than Titan, greater than Void, greater than Light, then maybe Xal'atath is not the final villain of the World Soul Saga. Maybe she is the match, the betrayal, the spark, the terrible little knife that cuts the cord. But remember, my friends, a knife that cuts chains can still cut throats. So drink carefully, watch the shadows, and never trust a whisper that tells you it is saving the world. This has been Midnight with Sômeguy. Like, subscribe, and share the brew if you enjoyed this speculation. And tell me in the comments, is Xal'atath truly serving the Void? Until next time, may your cup be full, may your path be steady, and may you never mistake a betrayer for a servant.
Too late.
That storm stout and his moonberry brew had me thinking about the Void all night. I wish Azeroth would wake up already so I can have a drink in peace.